Okay, we are here. We're here with my little notebook. So first off, I want to say thank you to everybody who has been pushing me to do this. I've been meaning to do this for quite some time now, like for the last 2 years, and life just gets in the way, and making time for yourself, let alone making videos, is just, it doesn't happen. But I specifically want to say thank you to Vanessa, because she has been pushing me and asking for me to do this. We've had so many discussions about it and how she was going to help me make it happen, and yet I still just haven't made it happen. So it's happening, Vanessa. We're here. Honestly, that last post that I made really motivated me to do it, because I do have a lot to say. Anybody who knows me knows I have a lot to say. I talk a lot, but I just don't like conflict, and I hate the Facebook police and committee. Like, I don't have time for the extra drama in my life, and I don't like to argue, although some people might feel differently, but I really don't. So, and when I do finally take that time to write, I enjoy it very much. I actually enjoy writing more than anything, but my fingers get tired with all the typing, and I honestly prefer the face-to-face, and I think this is the closest I'm going to get to face-to-face with a lot of you, because I feel like you can really feel the emotion, hear the emotion behind it, and know I'm not just being a bitch or being difficult. Like, this is how I feel about it, and if you don't like it, that's okay. But I feel like most of the time I'm really open-minded on my views, so I find it really interesting when someone disagrees with me, because I tend to just be somewhere in the middle. But on a different note, I had a million reasons of why I was not going to do this today. I've been telling myself I was going to do it this week, and I'm a list person, so it was on my list. It was happening, but I obviously look like a mess today. My hair is crazy. I am sick. I sound like death warmed over, or rolled over, warmed over, whatever the saying was. And I couldn't decide where I wanted to do this. I originally wanted to like hold you guys on the phone and talk to you that way and like walk around the barn and do stuff, but I knew then I would talk for literally ever, because when I do voice messages with people that I talk to, I will end up doing like a 5-minute voice message, and I hate when people send me 5-minute voice messages. Like, just call me at that point. Anyways, so I was gonna do it that way, but then I was like, you guys are gonna hear me heavy breathing, because I'm definitely going to get out of breath with all the talking. So I decided not to do that. And then I couldn't decide where I wanted to do this. I ended up like all of a sudden realizing that this room is a great place for it, and then I get in here and the fan's not working, so I'm kind of sweating right now, but that's okay. I mean, we're horse people, we're used to it, we sweat all the time, like all the time. Literally, what is being clean? Like, some nights I barely get into a shower because I am just exhausted. And I had to set up my whole ring light and the whole thing, and as much as I watch tons of TikTok, like I don't know how to set this stuff up, but it's been in my room for a long time, so there's that. I'm really going to try to keep this as short and sweet as I possibly can. Anyone who knows me knows I do not have a Reader's Digest version of anything, but I also know I only have like a 30-second attention span. I watch TikToks way more than I should even talk about, so 30 seconds is like all I got, but yeah, so I'm going to try not to make this a 30-minute video. I apologize if it ends up being, if you end up like kind of buffering or whatever you call that, scrolling through, that's fine. I understand. I'm just appreciative for anybody who is taking the time to watch this. And as I'm going to mention at the end, leave comments and just show the love. So I have my little notebook because I literally have tried to do this a few times already, and I trail off and talk too long about one specific thing, and then I forget the main points that I wanted to talk about. So here we are. We're gonna get this rolling. So I wanted to start off with buying and selling. I have so many topics that I want to touch base on, but this is where I'm gonna start, because I feel like we've all bought and sold a horse at some point in time, whether you do this on a low level, personal level, or you do sales, right? On whatever scale. And I feel like this will be good because this might trigger some people. Some of you might feel personally attacked. I promise I'm not personally attacking anybody. It's just funny stuff that's happened. And I feel like for the people who don't really deal with sales like that, it'll just kind of give you some insight as to what we deal with, because I promise all of the sellers we all talk, and we all laugh about what our biggest pet peeves are. So yeah, so I think that this would be really fun, and maybe you'll also learn something from it too, so you can understand why some of us get a little bit salty and short with our answers, because these things tend to happen repetitively and it drives us nuts. So, or at least it drives me nuts. Everybody has something different. So I would love to hear everybody's different experiences in the comments, and that might give me some good ideas to talk about in the future. So as far as buying and selling, we're going to get started with, I'm going to do like a little bit of both when I touch on each point. So the first thing is when we're doing an ISO post, right? I'm really specific on what I'm looking for. I want to start with, I love mares. I love chestnut mares. My junior horse that did everything for me was a big chestnut mare. Love her to pieces. So I'm just putting that out there for the Facebook committee. But when I post something and I say I'm looking for 16 hand plus, go away. 16 hand plus, 3 years old to like say 10 years old, whatever. Open to all breeds, gelding preferred, wink, wink. I can't wink. That was really sad, but gelding preferred. There's a reason behind that. It's not because I'm a bitch. Sorry for the language. I hope there's no kids listening, but I'm not trying to be difficult. I just know what I'm looking for, and I am going to touch on this later, but I don't think a lot of people realize how expensive it is in Florida, or really anywhere. I mean, horses in general is expensive. We literally give our whole lives away for them. But anyways, it's really expensive in Florida. So when I bring something in, I need to be very specific about what I bring in. And even then, some of them just don't work out. Some of them end up having injuries that were not disclosed, you know, all kinds of stuff, but we're not going to go there. I'm not going to be salty. But I really love when people send me a 15-1 chestnut mare that is double my budget and is 18 years old. I'm like, okay, so you didn't read at all. And that's really annoying to me. And I'm nice and I pretty much end up responding to everybody, but go away. It really drives me nuts, and like I can only handle so much of that until I start answering a little bit rude. Like, did you not read? And people get really offended when I say that. I have found that that's really offensive apparently, but like that's the nicest thing I can think of to say to you, because honestly, did you not read? Like, my post was so specific. So anyways, that also goes for when I'm selling a horse. Like, when I'm selling a horse, I'm pretty sure most of you have seen my posts. I am very detailed. I try to give as much information as possible. And why? Because when literally 100+ people will reach out to me about a horse, that's not on every horse. But on the good ones, yeah, a lot of people will reach out. I don't want to repeat the same answers over and over again. So I try to answer and give the information to the most general questions that I know people are going to ask. If you have extra questions to ask, go for it. I'm happy to answer them. I want to answer them because I want to find a good match. But please don't ask me something that is literally in my post already. And please don't at the bottom go, info. And I hate that I can't put the price in the post, because when I'm searching, I hate that I have to wait for somebody to get back to me, because if I saw the price, I'd be like, oh, not in my budget, and I wouldn't waste anyone's time. So I hate that. I try to get creative so you have like a general idea. Don't even get me started with the people that do not understand what low, mid, and high means. Like, guys, it's simple math, okay? Like from 1 to 10, you pretty much split it into threes. Okay, like it's pretty much like 1,000 to 3,500, then 3,500 to 6,500, and 6,500 to 9,500. I don't understand why that's so difficult. So when I say low fours, I mean 3,500 and under. So if you want to send me your $4,500 horse because you're really that negotiable, cool. But like, please don't send me a $5,500 horse and say it's low four figures. I just don't understand. I have had people who think low four figures means like low fours, like 4,100. I'm like, never mind. So we won't go there. We're just gonna leave it at that. This video could be an hour long if I dug into everything. So, you know, I make very specific posts and people reach out and they ask me questions that are already in the post. That drives me bananas. Or I have the people that ask for, when you see me looking down, I'm remembering things. When people ask for videos and they ask me a million questions. So I answer all of them. I'm like, okay, cool, valid questions, awesome. I actually think someone's super interested. I send them a bunch of videos. And then they disappear and they don't say anything. And if you're not interested, that's fine. I'm not going to be offended. Not interested in your horse. Cool. Got it. Or, hey, after watching videos, he doesn't work for me. That's fine. But they just disappear. And I've had some really interesting situations where people reappear like a month later and want to know if that horse is still available, or are upset with me that I sold it because they were super interested. But it's a no-win for me, because if I reach out to someone and I'm like, hey, are you still interested? They think I'm being pushy and trying to like make them buy the horse. No, I promise you there's other people that are interested, but I felt like you were really interested and I kind of like the sound of the home for the horse. So it's a no-win situation. So I do try to reach back out to people, but I've learned that it's honestly best to leave it. And if you're really that interested, you'll continue forward and you'll buy the horse. On that same note, when I don't get back to people, I have a life. We all know what barn life is like. I also have a full-time job. I have a family. Like, I have things that are going on other than horses, surprisingly. Excuse me. So if I don't get back to you, it's not with malintent. I may have just forgotten, but when people want to get salty and be like, you never got back to me. Well, one, I may not be that interested, because believe me, if I am, you'd hear from me. And two, I may have just forgotten. Like, benefit of the doubt, you know what I mean? So I get both sides of the coin, but it's like the people who like literally ask me a million questions and want videos of absolutely everything and talk about vetting them and all of the above, and then they just disappear. And I'm okay with like, if you just say, hey, it's not going to work out right now or whatever, but it's just weird, you know? Like, that just annoys me. It's not really an issue, but it annoys me. So on another note, budget issues. I can't for the life of me understand why somebody sends me a horse that is literally double and triple my budget. Like, I like math. I can't understand. We're not even talking about the 4 figures, 5 figures, anything like that. We are talking about simply my budget, telling somebody I have a $3,500 budget or whatever the budget is I'm looking for, whoever, myself, whatever, and they send me a $25,000 horse. I'm like, am I missing something here? Like, sometimes I think I'm the crazy one. Like, do I not speak English, or do I need to say it in Spanish instead? Because that doesn't make sense to me. And they'll be like, well, just keep him in mind. No, I'm not going to keep him in mind. Like, and I used to be really nice and passive about it. Now I'm like, no, I'm not going to keep him in mind. It's not what I'm looking for. No. And I don't know, I might have a client for that months down the road. I don't even know if that horse will still be available. So like, please don't waste my time. Or on the other hand, the people that reach out to me about a horse and have a quarter of the budget. Why are you wasting my time? Like, I try to be really upfront about price from the very beginning for this exact reason. Buying and selling. It goes both ways. Like, I really hate when somebody reaches out about a horse, gives me all the information, and then tells me how much it is. I'm like, price? And I say that repeatedly because I'm like, this is the most important part. If it's not in my budget or it's not in your budget, we don't need to be talking about that. You could tell me what you're looking for because I might have something else, but... And then one more thing on that note is when people are like, well, what's your budget? What are you looking for? And I'm like, no. You're not going to tack on another $3,000 because you hear what my budget is. Tell me what you're asking for the horse. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, great. But no, I'm not telling you my budget first. Unless you have like 10 horses available. And I've come across that. But then I'm like, send me a list. Because typically people who have that many horses available have a list. And yeah, or I'll give you the range that I'm looking at. So anyways, that's the budget issues. Another thing on people asking a million questions. So what's even better than the ones that just disappear out of nowhere and literally never get back to you or are grumpy when I ask them if they're still interested, are the people that ask all the questions and then they're like, oh, well, I'm not looking for like 6 months. Why are we having this conversation then? I never want to say, well, this horse won't be available in 6 months because that's the best way to jinx yourself. But why are you asking me about a horse that you're not interested in buying? Like, for 6 months down the road. I don't get that. Why are you doing that to anybody? Why are you asking all these questions and then wasting their time to then tell them you're not looking right now? I really don't get that. So that's, oh my God. Like I said, I could go on and on. So I'm sorry for continuously looking down, but I want to stick to my plan here. Okay, so here we go. So now we move forward to, actually, I want to go back. Did I mention how annoying it is when somebody sends me something that's 15 hands when I say my minimum is 16 hands? They're like, oh, well, if you consider. Nope, I'm not going to consider, because if I were considering, it would have been in my post that I was willing to consider it. Anyways, or it has an old injury and they either don't disclose it or they leave it till very last. And I'm like, that is so important. I needed to know that from the beginning, that it has an old bowed tendon. I'm not against horses with bowed tendons. That's great, but I know what I'm looking for, and that's not going to be it, because I know that I'm not going to be able to resell that because... So yeah, look, when I'm looking for horses, I'm not looking for myself, okay? Because if I was looking for myself, I promise the post would look completely different. You guys have never seen me look for something for myself because I already have my retired horses. I'm dying. I'm not looking for myself personally right now. The day that I do, it's going to shock everybody what my ISO post is going to look like. But for now, I'm not looking for myself. It's for a business. So I'm looking for what I know is going to sell, what I know has worked for me. So stop being so offended by my search and telling me that you're not going to find a warm blood in that budget. I have. It's happened. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Or you're not going to find one that walks, trots, canters like that already at that price. Yeah, it's happened. Like, it's not your problem. What I said in my last post, if it doesn't affect you, it's not your business. Leave it alone. I need a drink of water. I'm literally dying. Like I said, I'm making this happen today, sick or not. So, moving on. We get past the whether this is for when I'm selling. We get past the part where they've asked all the questions, they've seen all the videos, and now they want to buy the horse, right? And they say they're going to do a quick deal. And then they want to set up a vetting. The vetting's not happening for a week. And then they want to negotiate heavily after the vetting. Two things on that. First of all, a quick deal does not include a vetting. I'm sorry. Maybe certain people feel that way, but a quick deal does not include a vetting. A quick deal to me is cash offer, boom, I'm shipping him. I'm not saying you can't vet a horse. I'm happy for you to vet. I would prefer that you vet one because I do not want to hear any crap of like, you didn't tell me this. I don't have x-ray eyes. There are things I have no way of knowing. Like sometimes I get a horse and maybe the person I bought him from was dishonest. I personally am going to tell you everything I know, but there are things I might not know. So vet the horse. Go for it. I don't know what else to tell you. But if you're going to tell me you want to do a quick deal and you grab my attention with that, I like the home, and I stopped talking to everybody else because you say you're going to do a quick deal, and then I end up with a vetting and I'm waiting 2 weeks for it to happen. And this does happen. That's not a quick deal to me. On that same note, then when they vet the horse and then you don't hear from them for days, I'm like, what is this? I understand if you're waiting for your vet to see x-rays or whatever, but first of all, when I'm doing that, I have my vet ready to go. My vet is waiting and knows when those x-rays are going to be ready so that they can view them. I understand vets have crazy schedules, emergencies, all of the above. Absolutely. But within a day or two. Also, communication. Let me know what's going on. So literally because of people like that, it is in my contract now that when you vet a horse, you have 24 hours to get back to me. I'm not saying to buy the horse, but 24 hours to get back to me. And if you say that you haven't heard back from your vet, fine. But you need to give me some kind of update. I have had people literally disappear for days, and then I'm going, I feel bad because they spent a lot of money to vet this horse, but I have other people that are interested. What's going on? It's rude. It's really freaking rude. And I'm paying for that horse every single day in the meantime. So on that same note, I don't understand why people get so bothered by paying for the upkeep to either hold the horse to the vetting, or I'm nice most of the time, I don't make you pay for upkeep till the vetting, but then the minute that the vetting is done and I give you the 24 hours starts from the moment the vetting finishes. So you have 24 hours to get back to me, and then I'm fair. My setup is I give 3 days from the vetting. So 3 days after the vetting is done. And of course, if the vetting ends up being kind of I understand, okay? Then I'm fair. But if it was a good vetting, everything was good to go, you have 3 days after that I will continue to pay for the horse to sit here. But guys, I'm selling horses in lower budgets and it's expensive where I'm at. So yeah, every day matters. And when a horse sits with me for a week because we're waiting with the vetting and blah, 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 and then you take days after the vetting and then another week before it ships, at that point, the negotiation I did with you or whatever, like, it's out the window at that point. And then what? You know what I mean? Like, come on, guys. It is a business. I got to make a profit because otherwise I'm not going to keep doing this. And no one's going to like that. Or at least I won't like that. And I'd like to think some of you wouldn't like that. So I don't get that. Like I said, when you decide you want to vet it and then you vet it and whatever. And yes, you have to put a deposit down to hold for a vetting. I don't get the people that don't want to do that. Like, why would I hold the horse for you then to vet it? Like, why would I hold it for you? You know how many other people I have that may or may not vet? And I'm not saying I don't want you to vet the horse, but yeah, if somebody comes along that's going to hand me cash and not vet the horse and I don't have to wait and blah, 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 yeah, I'm going to go with that. So people don't want to give a deposit for that. They don't want to pay for the upkeep while the horse sits with me. And I'm like, great, guys, go away. It doesn't cost me $5 a day here. Like, this is adding up. So yeah, that's really annoying for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people too. And I know a lot of people don't even say anything, but for me, it's in my contract. Like, I'm sorry if that offends certain people, but I try to be as fair as possible, but these things can really drag on. And on that same note, people that think that a deposit is everything. So you have people that don't want to put a deposit down, and then you have people that think a deposit is everything. They'll be like, hey, I'm flying in and I want to try that horse a week from now. Can you hold it with a deposit? No, I can't. I'm sorry, that might upset some people. I know some people don't agree with that, but in the meantime, that horse could get hurt. I could have sold him already to somebody else. There's so many alternatives or things that could come up in these kinds of situations. So no, a deposit does not hold anything for me other than when you are vetting that horse, we have the vetting set up, then a deposit and a contract, and then I will hold the horse for you. But not to come try the horse, because I have plenty of people that buy off video. I have somebody who lives local and wants to come try it tomorrow. I'm sorry, and I get that that sucks, but I also believe in what's meant to be is meant to be. So if the horse is meant to be yours, it'll still be there when you get here. And I understand if you're paying to fly in and see that horse specifically. Again, I'm fair, and when those occasions arise, I try to get as creative as possible. But sometimes it's just difficult. Like when I have, like I said, literally sometimes 50 plus or more than 100 people reaching out to me, it really is first come, first serve, and who can put the money down first as long as it's a good hoe. I'm very picky. I don't just sell to anyone. And that's a whole nother point. People get so upset when I tell them, I'm sorry, I don't think he's a good fit for you. Like, who knew that a seller could deny you? Yeah, we can deny you. We can say that we don't want our horse to go to you. Believe me, we watch you on Facebook. We see the way you ride or whatever, or how you train, and we don't want the horse to go to that program. Or we know what's going to work best for that horse, and that's not going to be it. Like, I am very picky about where they go to. It's not just to whoever gives me the money first. So things like that really drive me nuts. I've had people get really upset with me about that, and I'm sorry. And if it's happened to one of you, I'm sorry. Sometimes it's not a personal thing. I just also have somebody else interested that I would prefer them to go to because I know that's going to be the better situation. Because I know the horse. I know what works for them. So yeah, but the whole deposit thing, like, it gets really touchy. Like I said, I try to be fair, but like I just can't hold a horse off of a deposit, because I've had people, on the other hand, who have put a deposit down on a horse saying they want that horse, sign the contract, and then 5 days later decide they no longer want that horse. You know how many people I've turned away, said he's pending sale, blah, blah, blah. Now I gotta go and explain to everybody why he's now available, because now that looks weird. People think it's fishy. They never believe what you tell them, that I just had a flaky buyer who decided they no longer want the horse. Like, after hunting me down and trying the horse twice and signing a contract and putting a deposit down and blah, 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 all the things I do to ensure this is what's happening. And then those people want their money back. And I'm like, I've paid for the horse in the meantime. I've turned tons of people away. He literally could get hurt tomorrow. And I know that's not anybody's fault, but it's like, let's be real. Horses are fragile and every day matters. So not that I want him to break in somebody else's hands, but you know what I mean. So a lot of these things get really touchy, and I know a lot of this is really controversial, and everybody's going to feel differently about it. And I'm not looking for fights with anybody or negativity. Just, these are my personal views on it. These are the things that annoy me. I feel like I had more things. Oh, yes. And then last but not least, maintenance. When somebody reaches out to me about a horse and they get annoyed about it needing, go away, I don't want to talk right now, you're ruining my video. And they don't want to deal with maintenance. I totally get that. And that's where, like, this one gets a little bit tough, because you have to be realistic about what you're looking for, right? You have to be realistic that you have the budget to maintain it, because we all know buying the horse is not the most expensive part. But the people that find regular maintenance, like injecting hocks and stifles for a packer, like when I've had those for sale, I just really, I don't get why that's such a tough concept for people to understand, because, and I know there's plenty of people that do, and I love those people, because just like humans, we all have maintenance. Heck, we have a ton of maintenance, okay? Some of us do it for looks, and some of us really need it internally, whatever. So, like, that just, I get really disheartened with stuff like that, and I think, so you're telling me you don't want to pay for maintenance, so when you buy this horse that doesn't need maintenance and then one day they need maintenance, then what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? So it's like my whole barefoot conversation. It's not that I mind somebody having them barefoot, but if that's one of your main concerns, that a horse needs shoes, that's concerning to me, because yeah, it's great if he can go barefoot, but what if he needs shoes? What if he needs this? Horses aren't about what they need right now. It's about all the things they're going to need, because it's like children, like, they aren't just set in stone, black and white. They just need this for the rest of forever. So I do pick and choose my people, and I do try to feel them out and see what their intentions are, because I'm not just selling to whoever gives up the money. So yeah, that's just what it is, and I didn't mean any harm by that post, and I wasn't trying to say barefoot's bad, but I get a feel off of people. I get a vibe, and that typically is not a very good vibe. That is like I have had people ask me, well, how many flakes of hay does he need? Whoa, not happening. Next, no way. Like, really? That's, So yeah. So that's pretty much the end of it. I literally could go on and on forever and ever and ever. Thank you so much for watching. I am going to be under 30 minutes. I know that's longer than I intended to be, but we made it happen. I have so much more to talk about. I hope that you guys will, in the comments, let me know if there's anything specific you want me to touch on, or if you have any ideas. I am all for it. I have so many ideas for where I want to go with this, but first video is in the books. So excited about it, and thank you for watching.